How is this worse than Man of Steel? No, please, somebody tell me, how is this movie worse than Man of Steel? Seriously! Rotten Tomatoes, I've had issues with you for years at this point. Literally, your abstract critics, as you would have them, I want to have a kind of bit of a scrutiny test with them in your rating system, because clearly some of these people did not watch the same movie, or if they did, are so over-the-top biased, I would have to expect them to be on either CNN or Fox News. Seriously, at the current time of this review, Justice League has a 39% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not from the audience, no, the audience has like an 86%. Which, you know what? I can understand. Some people may not like this movie, and clearly from the critics, that's the 14%. My God. Seriously, some of the reasons people are nitpicking this movie apart pisses me off. Look, I can go into great detail about how bad Man of Steel is. Trust me, I can, and there's a lot besides just the comic book aspect, and the same with Batman v Superman. But you know what? This movie is actually pretty dang good. It seriously is. And you know, there are some problems with this movie. Oh, there definitely are. But to say it's a 39%? Really? I remind you, we have seen worse movies come out in the last couple of weeks that even this shouldn't be even remotely on the radar. Someone literally said this was the equivalent of Trump winning the election, Brexit, and somehow the bubonic plague all in the same review. What is wrong with people these days? I'm supposed to be the one to rage at these stuff, but at least my rage is coherent and makes sense. Why are you trying to compare this stuff? Seriously, Batman, Ben Affleck. I've said it before when I was talking about it a while ago. He was the only good thing about Batman v Superman, besides Jeremy Irons as Alfred and Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. But I already praised Gal Gadot enough in my Wonder Woman review, and trust me, she's praiseworthy in this movie. But it's official. Ben Affleck? Best live-action Batman ever. I am not even joking. I was on the edge, basically, when I first saw him in Batman v Superman, mainly because he was a secondary co-star with that. It wasn't him exactly leading and setting up to be what the Batman we know and love is. And he's still not the Batman we know, but I've already accepted the fact that this Batman's willing to use guns, and at this point, he seems like he's willing to kill parademons, which, you know what, parademons, there's a long history on those things. The Justice League has had no problems destroying them in the past because they're not really real. It's a long story. But he comes into full in this movie. Ben Affleck? You are now officially the best Batman outside of Kevin Conroy. And I'm sorry, Kevin Conroy is still the best, solely from the fact that that dude can give a presence, feel, and character depth all with his voice. And I'll say it before, I'll say it again. Voice acting is a lot harder than actual acting. But Ben Affleck, man, you are close. Like, you are seriously. The only way he could probably beat Kevin Conroy in my book is if he was to pull something akin to a really good Joker. He needs a good villain to bounce off of, and dang it, he's not getting in this movie. Like I said, there's faults in this movie, and there's two of them I'm going to get to in a second. But I feel like I need to get all the good out because this thing's getting frickin' lambasted. Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman. Once again, amazing. She does an amazing job just acting her heart out. You can see the freaking just pain in her face trying to go through all this. You can see that she's been through a war. She doesn't want to go through another one. She's lost so many people close to her, and there's an amazing line in the movie addressing that. They build on this chemistry that I've wanted to see ever since Justice League. The Batman and Diana relationship. Literally. It's something we've wanted to see for a long time. We don't want to see Superman with Wonder Woman. Oh, we get it. The two powerful people within the Justice League clearly have to get together. Forget personality. Forget contrast. Nah, they're super powerful, so they, of course, have to be the ones to get along. Her relationship with Batman is amazing, and I hope it continues. But that's just the old people. Let's bring in some actual new faces for once. And before I go, continue on with the new ones. Yes, Jeremy Irons is still amazing as Alfred, and he is Bruce's mother. Over-the-top Jewish mother, wanting him to get in a relationship and get him some grandkids. But, on to the new characters, though. Barry Allen as the Flash, Ezra Miller? Now look, it's not Barry Allen. It's not, okay? It's the story of Barry Allen, But if Wally West was doing it, it's the jokiness, it's the over the top, the him constantly making a quip. That's Wally West. Barry Allen would occasionally make the same quip, but at least it wasn't over the top and he knew when to read a room and not to make a joke about it. But the Flash in this is amazing. The Speed Force looks beautiful, and the way they portray it is basically what you would expect from the CW show if you pumped it up to 11. That's the only good effect you're going to get from this movie. Once again, I'm going to get to the bad in a second. Continuing on, we got Jason Momoa as Aquaman, and we finally get an Aquaman that looks badass in the actual, movie. And don't get me wrong, Justice League's Aquaman was awesome. Seriously, if Jason Momoa ends up with a freaking hook for a hand, I'll be okay with that, because that was cool. And he's amazing in this movie, bringing the actual depth and seriousness that Aquaman has. And before anybody starts going off on Aquaman summons whales, all he does is talk to fish, right? Which they make a joke about that in this movie. Aquaman is the king of Atlantis, rules 2/3 of the ocean, commands a military might that can rival the entire UN, and I would like to also mention, has an incredibly smoking hot wife. Not in here, but it'll happen eventually. You see Mira, who wields the power cosmic, basically, when it comes to Atlantean magic. She's on par with Dr. Fate, for crying out loud. Yeah, call them weak. Go ahead, read Flashpoint Paradox. You'll see how powerful Aquaman and his military force is. We continue on from that to, honestly, out of the new characters, the weakest one, Cyborg. And the guy does Victor Stone. I can't remember the guy's name. I apologize. He's not given much to work with. It's the same old, I'm Cyborg. I don't know what it means to be half man, half machine. And it's very clear that this is very young in his face as Cyborg. Like, it's only been at most possibly a year, maybe year and a half at most. Because it supposedly happened right after Superman perished, but that doesn't sync up with the things from Batman v Super. It's a long story. Fact is, though, he's been very, secluded. He has all the information at the fingertips, but he still feels not human. And, there's a lot you can work with there. The problem is, we're in a 2-hour movie, and it feels very rushed. In fact, that's kind of the biggest thing I can say about this movie, is that the best way to describe this is it's a bad, good RPG. And what I mean by that is this. You enjoy the characters. You enjoy the world they're set up in. You enjoy watching the fights they have, and you see the reactions with each other. But in the bad RPG sense is the fact that there's no coherent plot that you can follow. The graphics may not look nice, and quite frankly, it doesn't look that great. And I've played a lot of RPGs that have that same feel to it. Why did I finish them? Because the characters were enjoyable. You wanted to be with the characters. You wanted to see them react off each other. You wanted to see them actually develop as both characters and humans for the most part. And that was nice. And that's what I got from Justice League. I sat down thinking this was going to be garbage. Thinking I was going to get Batman v Superman. And that might be why my view is slightly askewed. I'm going to be honest here, even though I try to approach this critically. But the feel of this movie. And you know who's really to thank for this? And I feel bad for saying this, but when Zack Snyder had to step down and Joss Whedon took control, it's massively noticeable. And here's the thing. I'm sorry to Zack Snyder for what he has to go through. I really am. No one should ever have to bury their child, and no one should have to go through what he did. And while I have personal issues with the dude because of how he handles himself professionally and how he's gone after so many people who dislike his movies very unprofessionally, I have to acknowledge the fact that he lost his kid and had to step down, and that is horrible, and my heart goes out to the man. He's not a horrible human being. He may not be the best director when it comes to this stuff, but he didn't deserve any of that. And hell, Zack Snyder, you tracked this down? Sorry, man, I really am. And, I hope you take notes, because Joss Whedon made this movie. it might set a Zack Snyder film, and it's noticeable in some areas, but for the majority of this, it's a Joss Whedon film. It's Firefly, it's Dollhouse, it's the Avengers 1 and 2. And it's understandable people are drawing comparisons to that. The characters, ragtag from across everywhere get united in just one big hurrah. It's very noticeable of that of an Avengers movie, or even a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, if you want to be honest. Though Guardians of the Galaxy is still better. I'm not saying this is better than Guardians of the Galaxy. Do not say I said that. But still a good movie. So it brings out the best of the characters. But the plot is so bad, and it stems from a bad villain, which stems from trying to do something you really didn't need. If you wanted to do an invasion movie, and you could have, the best way to do that wouldn't be to introduce Steppenwolf, Darkseid's son. If you wanted to do something of a cosmic scale, bring in Mongo and Warworld, the planet that literally is a walking, talking battleship of death. He comes in, he tries to conquer Earth now that the Kryptonian is gone. He brings his little robot militia, and they try to fight the heroes. That way you don't need all this BS Mutterbox stuff, all this over-the-top thing that they're trying to do. I know what they're trying to do, and it's a good idea, don't get me wrong. But you're trying to set something up that's going to take a long time to develop. And it's very apparent that they're trying to rush to catch up with Marvel. They're trying to catch them, and you can't. Marvel has, I think 20-some movies now at this point, not counting the old Spider-Man movies, the Deadpool movies, which, by the way, that trailer is out. You better track it down on YouTube right now. After this video, go there. Or pause this video, open a tab, watch it. It's hysterical. But they can't catch up. They can't. And DC, I'm going to be honest here, has better heroes than Marvel. I'm going to say it. And the reason behind that is this. Marvel heroes work best as a team. The X-Men, the Defenders, Heroes for Hire, the Avengers West Coast, the Fantastic Four. With the exception of a few, like Spider-Man's great on his own, Deadpool's great on his own. And it might just be because I'm not that big of a, Marvel fan. I've read a good bit of them, don't get me wrong, but it's just that they seem better as a team. While DC heroes can stand off well on their own without having to worry about that. So when they do team up, it's a much bigger event. It's why stuff like you can have the Batman solo, and it's completely good. That's why you got 4 of them running now in DC, though I think now they're down to 3. Superman can do well on his own. Wonder Woman. All these guys can do magnificent things on their own. So when they come together, it's amazing. In fact, I'm looking forward to both the Shazam movie and supposedly the new Aquaman and Flash movie to come out of this. But that's the characters. You need a good script, and you need good animation to make it look good. Most of that budget was spent on the Flash's animation, which looked way better than Cyborg, or any of the Parademons, or any of the fight scenes when they try to do them all together. Like, the Atlantean fight was kind of cool, but there was nothing to it. You could tell the CGI. You need more practical effects. You need more realistic. You need something to ground it in reality, so when we see something, we get a feel of it. You're giving these actors nothing to work with. You're giving all this heart that's clearly put into it. The wit, the character development, their relationships building off each other. Just the camaraderie of these ragtag guys literally realizing, yeah, we're only in this to save our own skin, basically. But we're doing it for the right reason. So people don't die. We all have responsibility we're trying to do. While at the same time, develop more. Batman's trying to come into his role as a leader and not realizing that he's useless and that his only goal is to possibly sacrifice himself to save everybody. Wonder Woman is growing to come to terms with that she can be a leader, not wanting to relive when she led Steve and all of his friends and Steve died. She doesn't want any repeat of that, but she has to grow. Barry Allen has to grow more as a human and advance his own plot to try to save his dad from prison. Aquaman's got to grow to become a better, basic king of Atlantis, and Cyborg has to learn to accept who he is. And all this is properly addressed. But it's so rushed. It's so just crammed in there because they cut a 2-hour and 45-minute movie down to 2 hours. There's stuff you could have cut, and it still would have been just as well. But more scenes needed to be addressed. It needed to get rewritten. It needed to have more of that actual DC feel that we've been wanting. And we got in the Wonder Woman movie, but we didn't get it all here. We got snippets, and those snippets were just close enough that it appeared great. That is a record rant right there, guys. Oh, God. But this has done the one thing I wanted it to do. And it's given me hope. It has given me hope for not just Batman and Wonder Woman, their movies, but for Aquaman, The Flash, and all these other movies. Now that Zack Snyder's not the primary person at the helm, it's noticeable. It's much better. The colors are brighter. Even though it's at night, I feel like I can see more. It's not hurting my eyes to watch. Everyone feels truer to some form of their character. Even if it's not them, it feels recognizable. It feels whole. The opening scene with Superman talking to a little kid on his phone, trying to do it like a little podcast, it was cute. And he felt like Superman. He didn't feel like that in the other two movies. But that little opening scene with that podcast phone gave me the hope I needed to make me think this movie was going to be good. And dang it, it was. So the people lambasting this thing, saying it's worse than Man of Steel, worse than Batman v Superman, you are all just, I don't know if you're Marvel fanboys just trying to rage out on DC because it's the new hot thing to rage on DC, or if you have something wrong with your brain, but you are wrong. If you dislike this movie for other reasons that you could actually coherently think, if you don't like this because of the plot, if you don't like this because of the CGI, that is fine. I completely understand that. But to say it is bad solely because of the characters? Are you kidding me? The only good thing about this movie you're trying to say is bad? I'm sorry, you are utterly wrong. And I hate saying tracked, but I looked at some of the other reviews for stuff they reviewed. And it's just, I don't know if we watched the same movie. If you watched a director's cut I'm not aware of, but the movie in there had hope. It had justice. It had everything we wanted from a Justice League movie. Granted, we wanted more, I'm going to be honest, because I wanted freaking Shazam, I wanted Green Lantern, I wanted Dr. Fate, Black Canary, Green Arrow. I could continue, but you get the idea. I wanted like a full Justice League Unlimited final 2 episodes, huzzah of the heroes. I want that, and I think we're going to build up to that. But until that time, we got to deal with what we got. And for what we got some amazing stuff. It's not the best movie I've seen this year. I don't know if it's going to be in my top 10. But from what I was expecting and what I got, I left satisfied. And I seriously believe anybody who has an inkling or a desire to go see this should. It's way better than Man of Steel. It's way better than Batman v Superman. It's not as good as Wonder Woman from structural standpoint, but dang it, it's got heart. And that's the biggest thing DC's had is its heart. It's been missing it for so long, and now it's back and it feels right. So, yeah, Justice League. Besides your terrible plot, terrible villain, and terrible CGI, you got what I honestly feel the most important thing is right. You'll get better screenwriters, you'll get better effects, and hell, you'll come up with a better villain. But you got the heroes right. The ones we want to root for and the ones we want to see. So, I was wrong, and thank you. So now, that little piece is all settled. Like I said, I missed a few guys, so I'm going to make it up to you. I'm going to go see 2 more. One because it was on my docket, and the other one because it sold out as well alongside Justice League, and it currently has a 60%. So, yeah, I'm curious to see how the heck The Star is better than Justice League. Yeah, no. The animal's gonna stop Pontius Pilate from murdering baby Jesus? Yeah, let's see how well that goes in animated form. But first, Murder on the Orient Express. It's a mystery movie. I hope it's good. Anyway, guys, it's good to be back. Hopefully this will keep rolling into better DC movies, and it'll just keep getting better. So anyway, I'm Kevin Rowley, signing off, and see you all next time. Later.